Hi guys, and welcome back to the ACE Academy Grade 10 Functions video series. In this short video, you will learn how to understand what a function is. Now, when we're speaking about functions, I know a lot of you guys get scared, but there's a specific approach that you need to adopt in order to understand it well. And that is relating the equation to the picture or to the shape of the function. Now, this is important because I've noticed that a lot of you grade 10s, even some of the grade 11s as well, don't understand how to work with the functions themselves. Now, there's a simple bit of theory that lies behind this problem, and I feel like a lot of you guys didn't pick it up when it was taught in class, or maybe it wasn't even taught to you. But if you have this tiny bit of information, I can assure you that this section would go just that much easier. So what we have on the screen right now is a Cartesian plane and an equation. And what we're going to do is we're going to understand that this equation is actually a function. Like most equations, they are functions. So the first step in order to understand the section is to relate the equation to the shape, as I've said before. Put simply, if you remember bar graphs, or any type of table that you've done, right? We usually take an x-axis, right? And we plot a certain value on the y-axis, and we can denote it by different things, whether it be people in a class or the number of people who play a certain sport, stuff like that. That's essentially what we're doing here in functions, but we're not giving the data an association in the real world. We're just looking at the shape of the data. What I mean by this is we have an equation in front of us, right? And it states y is equal to x plus 1. In this instance, or in this scenario, x plus 1 is our operation, right? That is what we are going to do. We are going to solve x plus 1. And when we solve x plus 1, we get an answer of y. And that's the general principle behind functions. To put this into practice, I think we need to attempt this one together. Simply put, y is our answer and x plus 1 is what we're solving for. So if I substitute any value on this x-axis, I will get a corresponding answer, correct? So let's go ahead and do it for number 2, right? So we're going to say y is equal to 2 plus 1. And in this case, y would be equal to 3. So when we come over here to the x value of 2, we would plot the y value of 3. It's that simple, guys. It's that simple. Now, if we do this for every single value on the x-axis, we are going to get a number of points, correct? So let's do it for point 1, right? 1 plus 1 is 2, correct? 0 plus 1 is 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. And if we continue on the positive x-axis, 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And since I don't have 6 on the y-axis, I'm going to leave that one out. Now, you see that these dots make a linear shape. Now, the shape of the function doesn't simply happen when we join the dots. That's a common mistake. How we obtain the shape comes from the fact that in between each one of these numbers on the x-axis, we have fractions, correct? So from 0 to 1, we'd have a half, we'd have a quarter, we'd have a third, and it goes on infinitely small. If we plot each and every one of those, we're going to have an infinite amount of dots between each interval. From 0 to 1, there'll be infinite number of points, right? And by plotting each and every one, we end up with a straight line, a figure, we essentially connect the dots by substituting in numbers. Now, because this is such a tedious task, because it takes so much effort to plot each and every one, and in fact it's not possible because there's an infinite amount of fractions between the two points, between 0 and 1, between 1 and 2. Each one has an infinite number of fractions, right? What we do is we just work it out for each interval and we join them, and by joining them we obtain the correct function. Now, I might not be the best at drawing straight lines freehand, but as you can see, this is a relatively straight graph, and that's a linear function, right? Now, what we've achieved by showing you guys this step is that we've made it a bit simpler for you to understand what a function essentially is. And what I want you guys to notice is that the x-axis begins at negative infinity and it continues until positive infinity, right? Infinite doesn't end. What we're doing is we're selecting a certain region in space that we want to work with, and here in this case we've selected -5 to +5, right? And in just the same way, the y-axis also starts at negative infinity and progresses upward until positive infinity. And that's how we plot functions. It's that simple. Thank you so much for watching this video. Join me in the next one. All the best.